Spores of the forgotten. I can still hear their laughter, a cruel cacophony that echoed through the halls of our family home, each mocking word twisting like a dagger in my gut. Insane, they called me, shaking their heads in disbelief as I stood before them clutching my research papers on parasitic symbiosis. The very thing that had cost me everything, my career, my reputation, my family, was the target of their ridicule. I was the disgraced mycologist, the fool who sought validation in the shadows of decay. Years later, I returned, a specter of the person I once was, burdened with knowledge that would make the bravest quail. I had delved deep into the heart of a forgotten forest, a place where the air felt thick with secrets and the ground pulsed with the remnants of ancient life. I had discovered fungi that could manipulate thought, controlling minds as easily as one might steer a marionette. I could feel their breath on my skin, whispering truths that no one else dared to acknowledge. It was a dark triumph, one that came with a price. As I approached my childhood home, I felt the weight of the past settle upon my shoulders. The house stood as it always had, draped in the familiarity of family photographs and memories. Yet it felt alien to me now, as if it had absorbed the scorn of the years. I stepped inside, the door creaking with age, and was met with a silence that felt heavy, suffocating. "Who is it?" My mother's voice, strained and cautious, broke the stillness. When she emerged, her face paled at the sight of me. "You look different." "Hello, Mother," I said, forcing a smile that felt like a mask. My father appeared next, his expression a mix of confusion and concern. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, the edge of his voice as sharp as a blade. "I've come to show you," I replied, my voice steady, though my heart raced. "I've come to share what I've learned." My siblings joined us, their faces a mix of curiosity and apprehension. They had grown up, but the disdain in their eyes was unchanged. I could see the whispers forming on their lips, the doubt etched into their expressions. They thought I was still the child chasing shadows, still the family disgrace. I took a deep breath, the air thick with the scent of damp earth, and reached into my bag. "I brought something," I said, pulling out a small glass vial containing a shimmering bioluminescent fungus. It pulsed gently, a heartbeat of its own. "This is the first of many discoveries I've made. It's called Mycena lucentis. It can influence your thoughts, your emotions, your very will. I need you to understand what you once mocked." They recoiled, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and disbelief. "You're joking," my brother scoffed, crossing his arms defiantly. "You expect us to believe that?" "No, I expect you to witness." I uncorked the vial, releasing a faint, sweet aroma that quickly filled the room. "What I've encountered is real. It's dangerous, but it's also a key to understanding life itself." I felt the air shift as the spores began to dance around us, delicate and ethereal, like a living fog. My family's laughter turned to gasps of confusion as the spores settled onto their skin, invisible threads weaving between us. I watched as their expressions shifted, doubt giving way to something darker. "Stop it!" my mother shouted, waving her arms as if to swat away the truth. "This isn't funny." But I remained silent, allowing the spores to work their magic. I had learned that once you open the door to this realm, there was no turning back. It was a lesson I had learned the hard way, and now I stood as the unwitting harbinger of that knowledge. In moments, their eyes blazed over, and I could see the gears of their minds turning, churning with the weight of understanding. They were seeing what I had seen, visions of the forgotten forest, the sentient fungi, the whispers of the damned. They were feeling the terror and awe that had driven me into the depths of obscurity. "Please," I heard my brother plead, his voice quaking. "I didn't mean it. We didn't know." "We laughed at you," my father said, his voice a trembling shadow. We thought you were lost. Lost? I echoed, tears brimming in my eyes. I was never lost. I found what you were too afraid to acknowledge. And then it hit them, the realization of what they had mocked, the weight of their disbelief. Their laughter had been a shield against the darkness, but now it shattered, exposing the raw vulnerability beneath. I watched as their faces twisted in horror, the gravity of their ignorance crashing upon them like a tidal wave. Look at what you've become. My mother's voice broke, and I saw her crumple under the weight of her own fear. What have you done to us? It's not what I've done, I replied, my voice barely a whisper. It's what you refuse to see. As the last remnants of the spores faded into the air, weaving behind a suffocating silence, I knew that I had achieved my vengeance, not through rage, but through revelation. They would never understand the depths of my journey, the horrors I faced, and the truths I uncovered. But they would live with the knowledge of their folly, a haunting reminder of the cost of disbelief. I turned to leave, the home I once cherished, now a tomb of shattered illusions. The shadows of the past would forever linger, but I was no longer bound by their scorn. I had become something greater, a keeper of dark truths, and the world would come to fear what they had once ridiculed. And as I stepped into the night, I felt the weight of the past lift, replaced by the chilling knowledge that sometimes the greatest horrors lie not in what we discover, but in what we refuse to believe.